Do you know how many people struggle with the question, what are you really good at? So for me, I've always struggled with this, especially early on in my career. I always thought I was trying to find myself, but what I was really doing was building my personal brand, but I wasn't putting much intention into it. So think about it as you watch this video. What are you really good at? What have people come to expect from you? Over the years, my friends and coworkers would say things like, that's so you, or that's the Raquel thing to do. And I never really put much thought into it until sometime last year. I started to really research personal branding and what that means. So if you're still a little confused about what personal branding is, stay tuned because I'm going to give you a brief overview of what personal branding is and 3 tips on how to start to build your personal brand. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe below. Also, when you hit subscribe, hit the notifications bell. That way you'll never miss a video and you're notified every time I post a new video. So what is personal branding? Personal branding is your reputation. It's what people come to expect from you when they hire you, when they promote you, and when they just interact with you. But most importantly, it's how you make others feel in your interactions with them. So there's an emotional side to it. Creating and building your personal brand is taking control of how others view you by taking some intentional steps and strategies. So I'm not saying to be fake about it or walk around with a made-up personality, but it's basically positioning yourself so that you're standing out from the crowd in many situations. So that might be job hunting, that might be at work if you want to stand out as an expert in your field. So not just at work, but if you're part of a church group or another group somewhere else, how are you standing out and really controlling how others view you or what they come to expect from you? So the first step in building your personal brand is to think about where you want to be in the future. So I know this question is pretty cliche. Where do you want to be in 5 years? People ask you that during the interview, or your boss might ask you that. But it's really a good question in terms of building your personal brand, because that way you can start to take control and make some intentional steps to get to where you want to be in that place. So even if you get a journal or something like that and jot down a couple things of where you want to be, and let's just focus on your career. Think about where you want to be in the next couple of years. Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be a leader with the organization? Do you want to be a specialist or an expert? And then start to think about the things that you need to do and the skills that you need to develop to get you there, and also the visibility that you need. I would say journaling helps so that you have a record of those goals so that you have something to work forward to. So now that you've wrote these things down, you can start to really take intentional steps to get to that place. Now, life is not perfect. We all know that. So you're going to have to plan for some roadblocks in life and those shifts and turns or whatever. But my intention and the journey that I'm on is to be more proactive in my career and less reactive. If you've asked someone how have they gotten to their position, they might give you a story and say, well, this person thought I would be good for this position, or this position fell into my lap, or I didn't like my boss, so I moved jobs. All of that is reactive to really your environment and others. So part of building that personal brand and thinking about where you want to be in the future is giving yourself some control in the process so that you can start thinking of those intentional steps, those proactive steps to going or building your personal brand and working towards those goals. So step 2 is to think about how others perceive you currently in present day, and then go back to step 1 and think about, okay, this is where I want to be in the future. How would I want, or how do I want other people to view me in the future once I achieve those goals and I work on my personal branding, and compare that to where you are current day, and you'll see that there are some differences, and then that way you'll get an idea of some of those things that you need to work on. So even for me, a couple months back, I did a exercise with a book club, and we were to go around the office and ask coworkers to give 3 statements of their expectations of you, or what you're known for, or how they thought about you. And a lot of the responses were pretty on point and were expected, but there were some of them that I was a little bit surprised of. One in particular, someone told me that sometimes in meetings I come across really confident, and it might sometimes make her feel like I'm talking down to her. So I started to think about it. It was kind of like a little aha moment for me, even though it hurt a little bit, because that was not my intention, or that's never my intention in meetings, to come across like I'm talking down. But like the famous saying, it's not about what you say to somebody, it's how you make them feel. So I started to really being intentional in my interactions with that person and with others, because if that person felt that way, maybe others felt that way too. And then another example is, I would say early on in my HR career, I thought that I was working really hard, planning events for the company, and I was signing up for everything. It was like my hand was being raised. I was raising my hand for everything. And I was running around with a chicken with my head cut off. And I thought that I was just a hard worker, until somebody came to me and said, Raquel, it looks like you are doing everything and you don't know how to delegate. Again, that was a very a learning experience for me, because that was how that person viewed me, or what the management team came to expect from me, that I am going to raise my hand for everything and I'm going to do it all. But really, I wasn't working at my full potential, because I was doing everything. But it really, again, was a good eye-opening experience for me on how others perceive me and what they come to expect from me. So the third thing that you want to do when it comes to building your personal brand is to identify your target audience. Who are the people that need your skills, your traits, and your values? And once you identify that, think about how you can add value to them functionally and emotionally. So when I talk about functionally, I'm talking about those hard skills. So those skills that you possess at work, whether that be that you're a great accountant, that you are great with finance, or you are a great person with Excel or crunching the numbers. Those functional skills are things that will add value to them. But secondly, and a lot of the things that people forget, is how can you add value to that target audience or someone emotionally? So how can you build influence with that person or with that target group? So at work, maybe the target group is the group that you serve or support. So whether you're in HR and you're over the state of Georgia, and you have several locations that you support for Georgia, or maybe you work in accounting and the group that you support is the whole finance department, and you have a role to play, identifying that target audience, and again, giving value with functional skills, but also emotional skills. So emotional skills is all about building relationships and rapport with others. And that's not the easiest thing to do, and sometimes can come across fake if you're being a little bit too intentional and too proactive with it. So like I said, last year I started to think about how can I start to build relationships with my target audience, with the people that I work with, that I support, so that in turn I can start to build my personal brand. I thought that I gotten the functional skills pretty down pat, but a lot of the times we forget of the importance of building really strong relationships professionally, and not just in your particular workplace, but also within the network that is within your field outside of the workplace. So those are my 3 steps on how to start building your personal brand. So remember, step 1 is to be committed to building your personal brand and think about where you want to be in the future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And then step 2 is to think about how others perceive you currently and how they will perceive you in the future once you start to build your personal brand. Step 3 is to think about who your target audience is and how you're adding value to them, both functionally and emotionally. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my channel below and also hit that notifications bell so that you are notified when I release my other videos in this series about personal branding. We're going to continue on this journey of building our personal brand with some real life experiences and some more steps and tips to our journey of building our personal brand. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.